Detroit Lions rookie camp starts tomorrow. Anson Wells, great draft again, we think, by the Detroit Lions. Very experimental draft in the middle. What are you excited to hear from Lions camp? What are you excited to talk about Dave Burkett?
I want to see where Sione Vaki's lining up. There's a guy I called for months, was going to be in Honolulu Blue, but they're talking about getting him involved in the offense quite a bit. So I'm really excited to see where he lines up on the offensive side of the ball, but I'm also excited to see where he lines up in the defensive side of the ball. He's kind of got a Brian Branch type of floater position and ability, skill set, should I say. The other thing I'm looking forward to seeing is where these top two cornerbacks step onto the field in Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold. These guys, we're looking at these being the bookends for a shutdown secondary in the next couple of years. So I want to see how they step onto that field day one.
Yeah, 100%. Ennis Rakestraw is definitely who I want to see. I want to hear all the noise about Rakestraw. You saw my prediction yesterday. I said that day one, first game of the season, Ennis Rakestraw would be the starting defensive back over Terrion Arnold. Wow. That's just where I'm at with it. Tom Mazaway, same thing. What or who are you excited to hear about? Is what or who? What or who are you trying to hear about coming out of camp?
I love the whole class, but Terrion Arnold, I can't wait to meet this guy, first of all. I hadn't had a chance to meet and greet him yet with the rest of the media. He's going to be a guy that he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink back there. I got a feeling that this kid is the real deal. Ennis Rakestraw is another guy that I love. I thought those two picks were fantastic. You wanted to get cornerbacks. You wanted to move on from last year, what happened with them. That was the weak part of the team. And I really believe that this is going to help the guys up front, man. You got the guys up front trying to rush that passer, and it's got to help them. Don't you think it helps Hutchinson and Pascal and the rest of the guys, DJ Reader in the middle?
Yeah, 100%. You add DJ Reader in the middle, you add Davenport, who should be healthy this year. It just it frees up Aiden Hutchinson. He's taking on less and less double teams. We saw him last time a couple times take on some triple teams because they didn't trust the defensive line. Now you add DJ Reader to Lee McNeil as well. Don't forget about Lee McNeil. What can Justin Houston do is another really good question. So excited about that. But that Mekhi pick right there, he's a guy that tested in the third round grade. Fourth round grade was the max that they had for him. Yeah. He slips down to the sixth. But Brad Holmes, once again, able to grab him up. So excited about that, too.
And the offensive line guys that they get, the kid from Boston College and the kid from British Columbia. I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like and look up to him. He could probably play for the Pistons coming up here in September.
No doubt. Averaged 20 and 13 as a college player. But
Not too shabby.
Mahogany and Manu, very excited about those guys. They were deals. I got Mekhi Wingo on this list too. I can't wait to see what this guy does. He's super young. He's got a track record in college. You're talking about giving a guy in Aiden Hutchinson that I felt was a half second away 12 different times last season. You're giving him an extra second. Yeah. And now when you add that extra second into him, but also guys like James Houston and Reader and all the others that we've mentioned, this whole defense takes off.
Yeah, the whole defense does extremely take off. Speaking of rookies, not necessarily a rookie, but a guy from last season that was a rookie, Antoine Green. I want to bring up something that was said. Brad Holmes talked to another show earlier today. Can't play the footage. But one of the things he said, they asked him about the wide receiver room, Maz and Anson. They asked him, did he do enough? They asked him, do they feel confident in this wide receiver group? You know, you're talking about Jameson Williams probably being the 2. Now with the departure of Josh Reynolds. Obviously, Amon-Ra just got paid. We know who he is. He's number 1. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones at number 3. He made some good points, Anson. And I want to ask you where you are with this. He talked about Donovan being a tremendous force with the Cleveland Browns. You know, remember he had the 1 year, he said 8 touchdowns, 800-plus yards. He was a guy that they could trust and the guy also that ran back punts. You kind of forget that. You get him here towards the end of the season, really doesn't know the offense, really can't put him in there, and they're playing meaningful games. You really don't want to play with fire. So people dismissed Donovan Peoples-Jones, if you will, because it's easy to dismiss a guy that's not on the field for a team that has so many offensive weapons. But did we dismiss him? And also, why don't we ever remember that Khalif Raymond is also a very, very serviceable number 3, number 4 wide receiver? Do you think that the wide receiver core is legit, like Brad Holmes seems to think?
Belief. You know, this is similar to the same question and concern that Lions fans had last season about their secondary. Obviously, the secondary was the Achilles heel of the team, but he knew that he had a guy in Ife Melifonwu that no one thought was going to contribute to this team. You started all of this off with Antoine Green. That's a guy that really showed flashes last year. And then when you look at DPJ, this is a guy that has proved it at the NFL level that he can be at least a top number 2 in this league. So I think it's one of those things where these guys just have supreme confidence in the players that they've chosen, that they've had in their clubhouse for a couple of years now. And they have a track record where they've been able to develop their guys. So as much as I was calling for a Tyler Boyd and some Gallups and guys like that, now we're watching them fall off the board. I am starting to feel real good about this crew, because last year, without DPJ being really a part of things and Green being, well, too green to really contribute, now this team, you've got some levels of depth to them, and you've got a Jameson Williams that showed the ability to be that guy for them this year. So I kind of like them not taking the chance and swinging with a bunch of money to go bring in an unknown entity, or maybe a known player, but an unknown culture guy. And so they're sticking to their guns, they're sticking to their people, and they're sticking to that culture that's worked.
Hey, Tyler Boyd was signed. Remember we brought that up yesterday. Yeah. He got to Tennessee. Today, Allen Robinson got signed by the Giants. They're just, these guys aren't top-of-the-line guys, and they probably want more money than the Lions are willing to give them. But these guys have fallen off the board here. And I'm not sure who's going to be left come August when the last of the free agents are remaining, because you're going in a little light, if you ask me, on the wide receiver side.
You know what's funny is I was going to agree with you, Maz. I still think it's a light receiver room. I still think it's a light group as a former wide receiver. But then you start to think back of Brad Holmes and the Lions, since they've been together, since they've been cooking. You look at what he did last year in the secondary, and everybody said, the secondary was this, the secondary was that. Well, Elijah Mosley didn't play last year because he tore his ACL. Then you look at, Brian Branch missed how many games? GJ got hurt, game 2?
Yep.
These are the players that he chose to put in that secondary. That secondary is much better last year if these players aren't injured. You look at the defensive line, similar thing. We're good with our defensive line. Then you get injury after injury. But when you play Isaiah Buggs, team did better last year. Freed up Lee McNeil, freed up Aiden Hutchinson. So when he has, and he says, this wide receiver core, we believe in them, maybe then I got to believe in them too. Because I look at Antoine Green. Antoine Green played with Drake May and Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Like fast, big wide receivers. So this is a guy that I think we're forgetting about him, what he was able to do. You look at the undrafted free agent from Illinois, 164 catches in the last 2 seasons.
Why was he undrafted?
You just never know in situations. Why was Justin Houston undrafted? I mean, obviously Illinois is a much bigger school than Jackson State, but you just never know in these situations. And then Khalif Raymond, we've seen him make play time and time again, whether it's in the quick screen or whether it's even actually running routes down the field.
We missed him at the end of the season last year.
Oh, yeah. Got hurt in the Minnesota game.
Do we still not know what happened? Do we still not know what the injury was?
No, I think he did something with one of his CLs in his knee. Hopefully he's going to bounce back and be healthy, because he'd be great on kickoff and punt returns as well. Don't forget the new kickoff rule.
Kickoff rule.
The new kickoff rule. Who are you going to put back there? Will it be Jameson Williams?
Or will it be Sione Vaki?
I got 3 names that are remaining wide receiver free agent-wise. I want to hear you guys' opinion on.
Okay.
Hunter Renfrow, McCole Hardman, and Big Mike Thomas.
The second 2 you said, 2 and 3, you could throw them off a cliff.
Yeah.
You could throw them off a cliff. McCole Hardman, he only works in Kansas City, and he only worked in Kansas City 5 years ago.
So, but what
I got a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, on accident.
What I like about him is the ability to use him around the line of scrimmage and screen packages, things like that.
You can do
and just his speed.
He was at FAS years ago. True. Like, he's had some injuries. And then Mike Thomas, first of all, I never liked Mike Thomas at Ohio State. It has nothing to do with him being an Ohio State Buckeye, because I love Garrett Wilson.
They didn't really even throw it to him while he was there.
Understood that.
He was the best wide receiver in the NFL for 4 years until this most recent injury.
No, he was a receiver that got the ball thrown to him the most. He wasn't the best
by
wide
a Hall
receiver.
of Famer quarterback, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's not even about a Hall of Fame quarterback. You throw somebody the ball 260 times, like, anybody can look pretty good. Brandon Marshall used to look like the best wide receiver in the league, and he was pretty good. But Mike Thomas, I didn't like him when he was in his prime. I thought he was a 2-trick pony, slant route, fade route. Now you're talking about a guy that's been injured 4 of the last 5 seasons. Yep. But you see, I didn't say anything about that first name.
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow is a guy, man. Like, some guys just know how to play at this level. Some guys are just good at what they do. Hunter Renfrow showed you at Clemson what he could do. Then you said that it was, it's college football. You can hide him. He did the same thing when he was with the Raiders. He showed you how good he was as a wide receiver. He reminds me of the prototypical Tom Brady type wide receiver. Amendola, Julian Edelman, You know, Wes Welker at one point, but also I think he's a little more dynamic.
Yeah, he's a poor man's Amon-Ra St. Brown, and as much as everybody wanted that kind of DJ Chark field stretching number 2, with the slim pickings that are left, Hunter Renfrow is a guy that's going to get on this team and get open, and if we were to lose St. Brown for a 3-game stretch, I think he could do a mighty fine job of stepping in there and mimicking what he does for us.
Even Scotty Miller got signed yesterday.
Scotty Miller? Let me ask a question. Would you want to pay, and let me ask you this, Max, I know the answer is going to be, and I'll come back to your answer. Would you want to pay Hunter Renfrow to essentially be what we think Khalif Raymond could be?
How much is it going to cost me?
If he's still in the market right now and he really didn't get that second deal in Las Vegas, nah.
2.5, 3?
3.5.
Oh, I'd sign him.
4.
I'd sign him in a minute for that.
Yeah, I would.
Because who just got 4.5? Tyler Boyd.
Yeah,
Tyler Boyd just got 4.5. So Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah. You need bodies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found ourselves in that position last season when a few of our wide receivers got hurt. DPJ wasn't the guy. Leaf went down, and it caused some problems. Fortunately, we got most of that back for the playoffs, but as confident as they are in the crew and the specific skills, because like each receiver we have in Detroit is kind of a niche to receiver.
Very true.
When we have injuries, I don't like our depth. So, yeah, Adam.
The only reason why I don't want to add him is because when we were talking wide receivers, Matt, tell me I'm wrong, when we were thinking about potential wide receivers, we were thinking about explosive guys. Mm-hmm. We were thinking of guys that can get down the field, or we were thinking about guys that were good at the 50-50 ball. Hunter Renfrow is neither one of that. He's neither one of those things. He's not a tall 50-50 receiver, and he's not a guy that's blazing fast. He's a guy that's going to work underneath, work in the middle of the field a little bit, work some screens. That for me, it just doesn't do it.
Martavis Bryant was explosive.
He also was some other things. He definitely was some other things, and that's why it didn't work with him.